Hello everyone, I want to do a quick video for my Pennsylvania people. There's 4 gun control bills that the Pennsylvania House is voting on today and tomorrow, okay? So you gotta go to GOA's website, it's goa.org, okay? And they have a pre-printed form that you can just fill out and send to your rep. And it doesn't matter if your rep is a Democrat. The point is we need to bombard them, okay? Now you can only send 1 email per address. So basically, like if you're doing you and your wife, you'd have to each send an email from 2 different email addresses. You can either use the pre-printed form that they have, or you can type your own stuff up. But you got to get the email out. So the 4 bills that are being run through the Pennsylvania House or being voted on in the Pennsylvania House, one is to outlaw plastic guns. Now, it's not Glocks. What we're talking about is all plastic 3D printed guns, okay, which including the barrel being plastic. Now you might say, hey, why do I care about that? Simply because all gun control laws are an infringement. And at some point in the future, the technology may progress to the point where you could actually have really good guns that are made out of all plastic components, including the barrel. I mean, you do not know, okay? So we do not want that law to get on the books in Pennsylvania. So that's the first one. The second one is they want to outlaw the private sale of long guns. They've already outlawed the private sale of handguns in Pennsylvania. So now they're trying to get the long guns. This is really important because this is what gives us deniability, okay? So if in the future at some point they basically passed universal confiscation, right, an outright ban, okay, the private sales give you the ability to say, hey, I no longer have the guns because I sold them back when it was legal for me to sell them privately, okay? Hence, there's no record of the sale. Once they pass this law, right, you can't say, hey, I no longer have the guns, because I sold them, because they're going to say, okay, how'd you sell them? Because it's illegal to sell them privately, okay? So this, the outlawing the private sales takes away your deniability. You always want to have that ability to say, I no longer have the guns. I sold them, back when it was legal to sell them privately. So this is a really important one, thinking long term here, okay? The third one, another big one, red flag laws, all right? Basically no due process where they can, somebody can make a complaint, they come to your house, they take your guns, and then you have to go defend your position. Now, people say, well, what's the big deal? You go in. First of all, this is a civil type of court case, so you do not get a free lawyer, okay? So you gotta pay for this at your own expense. The burden of proof is on you to prove that you're not crazy, okay? Because again, it's not a criminal case, so the burden shifts to you. And so this puts you in a really bad position. And secondly, it's not like you're gonna get into court within a day or 2 or 3 to dispute this, because just getting a lawyer with a free schedule, right, might take many months, okay? So most lawyers here in Pennsylvania and around the country are really busy, okay? So it takes months for them to plan ahead, and they generally give priority to the big dollar cases, okay? So if a case like this, I don't know, maybe it'll run you $5,000, right, to hire a lawyer to defend you in this type of a case. Well, they got other cases where they're looking to make $30,000, $40,000 on, $100,000 on. So you paying $5,000 to your lawyer to defend you in court against the red flag law, to them is small peanuts, okay? So if this gets on the books, we're going to have a real problem. Anti-gunners are going to basically do everything that they can to incentivize people to, call you in on red flag laws, ex-wives, ex-girlfriends, all that stuff, okay? So that's going to become a problem that will be abused. The proof is, listen, Democrats abuse everything, okay? So there's no reason why they wouldn't abuse this, okay? And fourthly, they want to outlaw Glock switches, which are already federally illegal. But then again, like I said, all gun control laws are an infringement. Shall not be infringed means no restrictions, okay? No exceptions, okay? There's no exceptions in the Second Amendment. If you're safe enough to be on the street, you're safe enough to have a gun. If you're not safe enough to be on the street, then they gotta prove it, okay? And then you get locked up. Either you stay in jail or you go to a mental institution or whatever. But if you're out on the street, okay, you're safe enough to have a gun. Okay, so and there's no exceptions to that, because a lot of times people say, well, I know a couple of people that shouldn't have guns. Well, if that's the case, prove it, right? Because how do we know that? Because you say that they're crazy, how do we know that they're not that they're the crazy ones and you're not the crazy one? Okay, so that's how that goes. So these are the four bills running that the House is running. Pennsylvania House is voting on today and tomorrow. You gotta get on GOA's website. It's GOA.org. It takes seconds. Okay, you can do this on your phone and get that email out. Okay, now here's the thing: the Pennsylvania House is controlled by Democrats. It is highly likely that they might pass this. Okay, and then we're hoping that the Republican Senate will stop this. But one of the things that they hear about, okay, because again, this is running through GOA's website. Okay, so GOA is going to be able to say, hey, this is how many emails went out, okay, through our website. So the senators hear about this. So it's really, really important, right? So now another thing I want to say, because I have a friend of mine I know for many, many years who moved into Pennsylvania, I think a couple of years ago. And he recently made a statement like along the lines of, hey, this Josh Shapiro governor, he's not so bad. He's not like one of these far left, radical socialists. And that's not true. Okay, that's not true. The only reason why Shapiro might seem somewhat moderate, somewhat reasonable, is because Republicans have been keeping him in check. And he hasn't been allowed to pass radical socialist leftist laws. Okay, he hasn't been able to pass draconian gun control here in Pennsylvania. So that's only because the Republicans have been keeping him in check. Okay, if the Senate, the Pennsylvania Senate, was to turn Democrat, he would sign every gun control bill that made it to its desk. Okay, the guy will sign any and all gun control bills. Okay, so don't think for a second that Shapiro is some type of a moderate. He's a Democrat. It's just that in Pennsylvania, there's only so many things that he can do or even say, right? Because it's a purple state. But if you take, let's say, Shapiro, and let's say you were to make him governor of New York, right, or governor of New Jersey, he would be doing exactly what Hochul is doing. You take Shapiro, you put him in California, he's going to do exactly what Newsom is doing, okay, because that's what Democrats do. Likewise, if you take those governors, if you take, let's say, Newsom from California, and you make him the governor of Pennsylvania, right? Now he's going to try to be a little bit more moderate, right? So same thing with Hochul. You take her, you bring her to Pennsylvania, you make her a governor here. The same thing is going to happen here, right? She, because she doesn't have full control of the legislature, she kind of has to be moderate, right? So that's the thing to understand with these Democrats. There's no such thing as moderate Democrats. There's only Democrats that are somewhat kept in check by Republicans, okay, in purple states, okay. But Shapiro's just as dangerous as any other Democrat. If it wasn't for the Republicans, if it wasn't particularly for Mastriano and guys like him in the Pennsylvania legislature, Shapiro will sign every single gun control bill that makes it to his desk. So we got to be vocal. This is where it counts, guys. This is where it matters. So get on your phone, open up the browser, go to GOA.org, okay, and shoot out an email And what I did is like I used uh, the, the the form, right, that they came up at because GOA had typed up something. But the only thing I did is at the very top, I put in my own statement. Okay, and my statement was that all gun control laws are an infringement, and my wife, she put in that shall not be infringed. Means exactly that. Okay, so get as many family members as you can, and again, it's got to come from separate email addresses to get these emails out. Okay, so drop some comments, and thank you very much. I'll talk to you all soon. Oh, and do drop some comments because it does help push the algorithm, helps get the message across to everyone.